Hi, I'm Clarion from Clarion Call Fiber Arts, and today I'm going to show you how to turn this skein of yarn into a center pull ball so you don't spend hours of frustration untying knots just to make your yarn usable. So, you just bought some gorgeous yarn online, and you are super proud of yourself for supporting a small handmade business, and you cannot wait for your delivery to arrive so that you can finally start on that project that you've been dreaming about for months. Sound familiar, right? But then your package gets there and you open it up and you're super excited and you pull out your yarn and it looks like this. And you're like, what do I do with this? Where's the end? How do I work with this? Don't worry, I got you covered. Today I'm going to show you 2 ways to turn your skein into this center pull ball. The first way I'm going to show you is with a swift and a ball winder. But if you're like, I don't want to buy any more equipment to turn my skein into a ball, then don't worry, skip ahead. I've got the by hand, manual, no frills, no equipment technique to do the exact same thing. Quick caveat before we get started. My online yarn shop, as well as many others I'm sure, has a ball winding service. So if you watch this video and you're like, not for me, I don't want to do this, then that's okay. Add my ball winding service to your order and I will mail out your yarn in a project ready center pull ball just for you. But for all those can-doers out there, let's get started. Today I'm going to be working with this yarn that I hand spun from fiber I dyed myself. First, I want to show you how to take apart your skein. Find the end of the skein that has one end tucked into the other end and then simply pull them apart. If you untwist the skein like so, you'll see that it's just a big loop. The skein is tied at several points around the loop to keep it orderly and contained. Before we wind the skein, these loops will have to be cut. This particular loop here, when cut, will reveal the ends of your yarn, which is where you'll need to start winding. So this is a pretty inexpensive Swift. I think I bought it on Amazon for about 15 bucks. There's different kinds, expensive ones, non-expensive ones. This one works just fine. You want to open it up. It sort of opens like an umbrella. The higher up you get, the wider it gets. You notice that there are sort of crosses here in between these 2 points. Your yarn is going to want to sit right there. So take your yarn and drape it over the top of the Swift, trying to avoid those little points so they don't get caught, and let it hold your yarn sort of in those crosses. Now if it's loosey-goosey like that, all you have to do is just lift it up a little bit more. You want it to be pretty tight. Once your yarn is securely on the Swift, you can start cutting the ties. Be careful to only cut the tie and not your yarn. I know it sounds obvious, but it's happened to me before, and when it happens, it really sucks. So just be mindful of where you're putting your scissors. We're just going to go through and cut all of the ties until we get to the special one that holds the ends of our yarn. And here it is. When you get there, just clip as close to the knot as possible. This just ensures that you're not clipping off any usable yarn. And there you can see I've liberated the ends of our skein. So we've got these 2 ends here that we found when we cut all the little ties along the skein. Just decide which one you want to start winding, doesn't really matter. And then just tuck the other one behind the skein so it doesn't get in your way. Take the end of your yarn and maneuver it through the spring so that it runs freely through the center. Want to see that closer? Yep, around and through the center of the spring and make sure it's flowing freely. Now do the same thing with the second spring, just make sure your yarn is running unimpeded through the ball winder. Lastly, secure the yarn in the crevice at the top of the ball winder. Now you can start cranking. It doesn't really matter which way you crank, just clockwise is the most comfortable for me. Just keep winding. Winding. Just keep winding, just keep winding. You see a light at the end of the skein. And there it is! Now take the other end of your yarn, wrap it around the ball, and tuck it under the outer strings of the ball to secure it.
Now it's time for my favorite part. Grab the end of the yarn that we secured at the top of the ball winder to start, and slowly lift the ball off of the winder. Make sure you don't lose that end of the yarn. And there you have it, a gorgeous center pull ball ready to start working with.
So this is the manual, no frills version of how to make a skein into a center pull ball. I'm going to use these dresser knobs, but you can use anything, the back of a chair, your friend's arms, or your own knees, whatever, doesn't matter, as long as it can hold your skein loosely without getting it tangled. So here's my skein. I'm just going to loosely drape it over these knobs, just like that, and then we'll start winding.
So I've gone ahead and clipped all the other ties holding the skein together. I just wanted to give you guys another look at snipping the tie that holds the two ends of the yarn, just in case the other view wasn't as clear. And there they are. To make a ball by hand, extend your pointer and middle fingers, and hold the end of the yarn with your pinky and ring fingers. Begin wrapping the yarn around your first two fingers. Don't wrap too tightly to start because this will ultimately make it difficult to pull your yarn out later when you're actually working with it. When you've got a decent amount of yarn on your fingers, slip them out and stick your thumb in, making sure that you've still got a hold of the end of that yarn sticking out the middle. This is your center pull end, so if you lose it, you won't have a center pull ball anymore. I still like to hold on to it with my pinky and ring fingers. Continue wrapping your yarn around your thumb at a perpendicular angle to the yarn that's already there. You can begin to wrap a little tighter now if you'd like. Now that we're not at the center of the ball, it doesn't matter so much. When you've got a decent amount of yarn going one direction, slip the ball around your thumb counterclockwise and continue wrapping in this new spot. This will help flesh out the shape of your ball. And that's basically it. Keep wrapping the yarn around your thumb and rotating the ball counterclockwise. As you go, if you see a spot on your ball that has less yarn on it than the rest, add more there. You can control where the yarn goes and how even the shape of your ball is. Pro tips on keeping the yarn tangle free. You kind of need to keep an eye on your skein and on your ball at the same time. As you're winding the ball, unlooping the yarn from the dresser knobs before winding it will help. If you notice that part of the skein is coming off of the knobs, fix it. If it does fall off, it will most likely get tangled. If you notice the skein starting to become tangled, stop winding and fix it. If you just keep pulling, you'll only make a tangle worse. You can kind of see how my yarn is starting to become twisted at the bottom of the skein. I have to pay special attention here to make sure that the yarn I'm winding isn't getting caught up in that twist and ultimately tangled. And we're just about done. Enjoy that feeling of satisfaction knowing you have completed something tedious. Just tuck that last end into the outer strands of your ball to secure it, and make sure you've still got that beginning end of your yarn. Give it a test pull, and there it is! Our by hand center pull ball. So satisfying.
Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope this video helps you avoid a lot of frustration. If you like this video, hit the like button or feel free to subscribe to my channel. If you want to see more from me, you have to visit my website at www.clarionfiber.com.